Hello guys, welcome back to our pop culture, and today we have to talk about Supernatural season 14. Oh my god, it was a trip. So I have a lot of thoughts about it and I just finished it yesterday. So because I've been waiting for it to come on Netflix, I just didn't want to go through the whole either buying it or going through CW's like streaming thing, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so I finally finished it yesterday, and it was actually 20 episodes instead of being like 22, 23. So, which is, I'm kind of happy that I'm happy that actually happened. With the start of this video, just so you know, I'm a huge Supernatural fan. Huge. I started off doing season 5 because my friend was into it, and then she's like, if you really like it, you gotta start from the beginning. So I started from the beginning, and just since then I just went all the way through. Oh my god, it's my, I have to say it's my favorite show. It's my favorite show. So with that, I have a lot of thoughts with going on with these whole things. So you got your good, you got your bad. So I'm going to talk about a lot of it. But because I'm so into it, I even have a shirt that says I love Sam and Dean, because I do. I love them all, mostly Sam. But Dean can join. So, starting off with this season, it kind of started off very great. Actually, it started off very strong, actually. Like, with the whole, like, the demon thing was going on with, like, since Crowley's not around, we have demons trying to move up rank and be the next king of hell. Of course, during this time, Dean is actually Michael right now, because he's been possessed by Michael since last season, or he just got possessed by Michael last season, the last episode. And so Sam and his group of people, hunters, are kind of doing their own thing now with him, trying to find him, but at the same time trying to take care of like stuff with the hunting. And so Sam like kicks ass the first episode with the people trying to be like, oh, I'm king of hell. And he's like, there's not gonna be any more king of hell, no more. So, on top of that, so the people that left off, so we have Jack, who is his grace has been taken away from him from Lucifer, but Lucifer is dead. So he's kind of trying to work out how to deal with being human without using his powers, because he kind of really depended on his powers before. But this is a plot we've seen before with Castiel when he fell out of heaven and his grace was gone. So we gotta get this whole recycled plot with Jack, which is good, because we think, okay, well, we know how it goes. Cass can kind of jump in and just say, like, I know it's like, if you just really try hard to be human, it will go away fast. Time will go flying by. So during this time, he kind of gives it a chance, and he has Bobby teaching him how to fight, like, hand-to-hand combat and everything. He's getting his ass kicked. He's not really happy with it, but it's okay. So, on top of that, we have one thing that we do kind of come across is that Lucifer's body, or meat suit that he used, the human that he used in the way beginning in season 5, which his name is Nick, he is actually in the bunker, which is actually interesting, because you wouldn't think that he would be saved or anything, but I kind of thought he would die. I thought he got stabbed? It's been a huge gap since I watched the last season, but I think he got stabbed by the angel blade, or probably just got like zapped into existence. No, he did. Something happened. I think Jack did it or something like that. Oh no, not Jack. I think it was Michael inside Dean's body that did it, but Michael took over and ran with Dean. So now he's inside Dean, but Nick is there. He's inside the bunker. He's kind of just like trying to figure out what's going on, and he finds a destiny where he decides to go off and try to find the killer of his family. During his time, he kind of starts seeing things are starting to happen with him. He's getting a little violent, and it reminds me exactly like Lucifer, which is as you go through the whole thing, he starts to do that. During the time that Michael is gone, he's trying to build an army by giving them some of his grace into the vampires and werewolves, which has actually become successful after a lot of failed trials of different other creatures that he used. At the same time, by season 2 or episode 2, he leaves Dean due to the fact that we don't really know at first, but then we find out that that Kaya Knives is the from last season, which is was supposed to be one of the Waver sisters, but she dies. The alternative version of her becomes sprouts onto present universe, and she has this blade that she uses, or this spear that she uses that actually can harm angels. So that freaks out Michael. Michael exits Dean after getting stabbed by the blade. And then we go on to the fact that so everything's fine with that, but they're still curious as to like why did he just kind of just leave. During that time, Jack is going through some things that his body is dying because the fact that all he has is his soul, and he doesn't have any grace. But I think because he didn't have grace, his body doesn't know how to react to anything, so his body kind of just deteriorates. So he's been coughing and everything, so we try to during this time he does end up dying, but he's brought back to life because of the help from the angel expert, Lily Sutter. So Lily is somebody I do not remember. I think she was probably one of the filler episodes, so where which is I think 13, I kind of skipped through a couple of things because it fell kind of flat in different places. So we have that, and then on top of that, she brings back Jack back to his body, even though he was in heaven, bring him back to his body with a curse to keep him from his body from deteriorating. But with that said, they're feeding off of his actual soul. So with that, if he uses his powers, which he slightly has now, he would die. He would just keep sucking off of his soul to where he doesn't have a soul. Then we have a Dean Winchester, soulless Winchester all over again. So let's see what's going on. So then at this time, they decide to go face Michael because apparently he's building an army and where was it? And Kansas City, building an army of vampires and werewolves to basically just attack the whole earth. So Dean decides to try to bargain with Kaya about the blade, which is kind of things I thought was very stupid, which is I felt like they could have easily just said like, oh, you mind, can you just like come with us and use the blade since you're the only one that actually knows how to use the blade and flip it around and everything like it's fucking deadly. She almost killed Michael before. I kind of thought that she would do it again, but they're like, oh, give me the blade or you're gonna have to kill me. And I was like, oh my god, once again, the whole motto of just like, kill me if you can't use the blade. I was like, you could have been like, can we use the blade? If we can't use the blade, if you don't trust us to use the blade, can you come with us and use the blade against Michael? But that doesn't go out. So of course, that's another thing. And of course, during his time, Jack is not telling anybody that he's using his powers like slightly and killing off pieces of his soul. And that's another thing that I don't know why they did not tell him. So we get to Michael. Michael's in a different bodysuit. He is in his woman's bodysuit, which she looks fucking flawless. Her fucking pantsuit was everything. So she basically calls the creatures to come and attack them in this building that they are in. Thankfully, one of the Reapers transport them all back to the bunker with oh, that's right, sorry. I skipped the part. There's a lot that goes on. So during that time, apparently Michael left a little piece open inside Dean's body to where he can access Dean's body whenever he wants. So he takes that time before they disappear back to the bunker to go back into Dean's body. So now Dean is back to being Michael. So we kind of but during this time we go back and they figure out how to go into his mind and trap Michael into this walk-in storage room inside Dean's mind. So then now everything's okay for now, but Billy, who is the new Death, says, like, there's only two ways it can go down. You can either, if he goes out of your body, he'll kill everything, you'll die. If you build a bit of like a chest that actually hones in like all the angel magic and doesn't, so you wouldn't be able to get out and drop him in the bottom of the ocean. That's another way you can technically die, but you'll be saving the world. So he decides to do that, and without telling anybody, of course. We just don't like to tell anybody, even though the trust between everybody should be on par of like just talking to each other. But we don't do that because, family. So he secretly starts building the bunker, or building the chest, when we start kind of like, while this time Nick has escaped and kind of went around to find his killer. He finds the guy that was possessed, the guy that killed the family, but technically he didn't kill the family. He actually, the demon that was possessed inside of him killed the family. But Nick doesn't see it that way. He's like, cool, I'll find the demon, but he also wants to kill you because you're associated with it. So he does, and he goes to find the demon, and he finds out that Mary knows what a demon is. Goes to find the demon. The demon is inside this box. And so he forces her to let go of the box, to open the box. He opens the box. The demon attacks everybody, but Nick ends up killing him with the angel blade. Which is kind of cool, but the further it goes on is that even after all of that, he's still not satisfied, and he comes to terms with the fact that he might just miss being Lucifer, because he felt very powerful. It felt like he'd do anything, even though Lucifer was evil. And even though, but the whole thing about him is that he's just addicted to that, which is funny because back in, I don't know, season 4? We got into demons around season 4. Yeah, season 4 is when we got into the same exact story that happened, that one killer guy who was possessed by a demon got addicted to the fact that the demon was killing things, and so he became a serial killer himself to try to get back into that demon. So this is exactly the same type of plot. So that happens, and then of course one thing I was really excited about was episode 300, which is episode 3, episode 13, and the Dean actually finds this. Let me rewind. So he finds a shit ton of cursed objects that he's bringing back to the bunker. But he finds a pearl that actually that does whatever your biggest wishes is, and so he tries to use that, hones that to let Michael disappear. But instead he brings back John Winchester. Wouldn't that be kind of weird? From 2003, and so they get this huge family reunion. He sees Mary for the first time. He knows about everything that's going on. He apologized for being an asshole of a dad at times, and they kind of go from there. But I honestly felt like that episode was cute, but it also kind of just felt lightly flat because I felt like there could have been more that could have happened between the family. So yeah, and then that happened, and after the whole during this time, they also are battling a Gordon who can see the future, but also has this pet snake. And they during the time, Dean gets attacked by the Gordon, which sends him out of left him unconscious. With that allows Michael to actually come out. So there goes the other side of the prophecy that supposed to happen that Billy was talking about. But during this time, instead of actually just killing up the world, Michael decides to fall into Rowena and starts to kill I felt like it was pretty much everybody, every hunter that was inside the bunker. But apparently everything that says was he killed some of them. So during this time, Jack has been using pieces of his soul throughout the whole season. Which has taken away more souls, which makes him a little less emotional, less into his emotions. But during his time to save everybody, he decides to use it to pull out Michael outside of Rowena's body, and he's circling in the air, and he kills Michael through that way, and it absorbs his grace. So now he's back to so now Jack is back to being Jack with his powers and everything and stuff like that. So, but he gets upset because he can't really use them because the fact is that so he can use them now, but there's something going different with them that they all start realizing. So he sends them over to Donatello to figure out if he lost his soul completely, which is we kind of just figure out now that he pretty much does, because he can't feel anything, and we've seen that with Sam, which is kind of interesting that they make it seem like he can't control himself, or his soul is completely gone, even though Donatello's soul is completely gone too, but he's making a living through it. So it's kind of interesting that he didn't really follow off with how Donatello is living, but he doesn't tell anybody, of course, and everybody has a snippet of thought. So Castiel decides to try to find God and sends a prayer to God. During this time, we figure out that Nick is trying to bring back Lucifer from the empty. I'm sorry if anybody hasn't seen Supernatural. This is strictly for people that actually watch it. If you haven't watched it, then what I will do is do a full, a recap for it, because I feel like it's a really good show. I love the show. I understand since I've been to the convention, I've seen there's a shit ton of people that are Supernatural fans. So this is strictly for them, but if you're interested, you can still listen. So where are we? So so Nick is trying to bring back Lucifer from the empty, and he almost does, but then Jack and Mary goes to him and tries to stops everything, pushes back Lucifer back to the empty, and this is part where Jack kind of loses it. He decides to end Lucifer by burning him to death. Nick, and burning him to death, which is thank God. That's I understand it's not ideal to do, but I'm kind of happy that he did it. Mary's not happy about it, and he's kind of losing his mind, or Jack's kind of losing his mind over stuff, and he decides to he accidentally kills Mary. Mary goes to heaven, everybody's upset, and so he feels like everybody's upset, so he starts bouncing around the world trying to find ways to bring back Mary. Meanwhile, Sam and Dean figure this out, and Dean wants to kill him, Sam wants to reason with them, Castiel wants to reason with them. So, but of course we just go by what Dean feels like, because for some reason we can't just have a vote off of this. And Dean becomes his normal moodiness, which I cannot stand his moody, arrogant / stubbornness. I get that he wants to hold everything responsible, but it's slowly turning to a mortarism, I don't know if that's a word, but you know what I mean, it's just turning into that kind of thing, just I did, this is my fault, oh my god, blah blah blah. It's we need to get over something, because it's been 14 seasons, and we should be able to adapt to this type of feeling, or know what to do when we come to this feeling, or have people also know what to do when he feels a certain way, especially with Sam. So they find a way they try to find him, but Jack is avoiding him, but he finds a spell to bring back Mary, but he only ends up bringing back the body. So they burn the body. So Sam and Dean finds the body and burns the body in a traditional hunter's funeral. During this time, though, when Jack runs away, Duma is one of the angels from above. She comes down and tries to form a way to get Jack to kill off the non-believers, and to also bring some believers up to heaven, so that he can convert them into angels, which is interesting because he did convert a good handful of them. So I want to know if we're going to pick up from there in the next season with, now there's actually a handful of angels now. But Castiel comes up to heaven, stops him halfway, and kills Duma, because she's now trying to take over. And so now heaven doesn't really have a leader except for maybe Naomi maybe could come out of her hiding of what she was doing. They put her in prison. So all that's going crazy, and so Sam and Dean decides to, well, mostly Dean, but Sam goes with it apparently, decides to trap Jack into the box that they're talking about, the little chest, and have him like just locked in there until they can figure out what to do with him. So they trick him into doing it. Jack hasn't really completely turned, because he was at the point where he was just like, okay, I'm like, things are going crazy, I'm trying to figure out my emotions, and apparently he has like, he like formed Lucifer to be part of his thing. So he's having him listening to his ear, but he finally goes into the box. He finds out that he's been betrayed, so he busts out, of course, like he would, and disappears. After the whole prayer that nothing happens, actually God shows up. We figure out what's going on, and he's like, okay, you can kill him with this gun I literally just made just now. And he's a little overly happy about what's going on, which just makes me feel like it's like there's something going on. There's something going on. He's not really feeling upset about what's going on. So they all go to find Jack, and Dean tries to shoot him, but he decides he cannot do it. But at the same time, Sam realizes that God/Chuck may be the actual villain in this whole thing, because he just hasn't stopped anything from happening, and he's allowing everything to happen, and he sees this as more of a story, since he has several, and he admits that he had several dimensions or different worlds that he's made over time that he kind of just ditched. He's like, one of them is just full of squirrels. Some of them are just like different sides, different versions of Sam and Dean. But apparently the one that we're watching now is his favorite. So they figure out that he's just doing this just for fun. So they decide to shoot him with the gun that Chuck gave them, but it doesn't work out. And so with all that said, he's like, you know what? Fine. And so he kills Jack, and so Jack's dead. And then he decides to turn everything dark, and he pretty much just ditches the world and just ends up where he has everything in the darkness. And he, on top of that, brings back all the souls from hell, which is interesting because all the souls become like zombies and ghosts. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense actually now. Saying it out loud makes a lot more sense. So they're evil souls coming from hell. They're now zombies and ghosts and stuff like that. So they have to fight all these people, and they're all like circling around them in the last like scene where they like come in to attack them. And then the last scene though sprouts out to where Jack wakes up from the empty, and that's surrounded by the Shadow, which is the guy that runs the empty, and Billy Death. And which just makes me so hopeful because I really do like Jack, and I really feel like he is really really misunderstood and wasn't really handled right. So they seem like and Billy's like, about what just happened, we need to talk. So I'm hoping, because I love fucking Billy's Death. She's way better than the other one. I loved him, but I just love her attitude, and she just doesn't give two fucks. She does care, but she's like very practical about everything. So they decide I think they're teaming up to try to figure out how to defeat God, or try to bring back everything to the way it was with Jack, who seems to be strong, and possibly stronger than God, or something, because God said Chuck even says he fears Jack. So we leave off with that. And so that ending was really, really good. I felt like there was pieces though that just like, it just reminds me of the old like seasons where just like we're okay with the fact that we're naive to certain things, but I felt like from season 10 on it has been a lot of rehashing a lot of things that you're just like, we know. We get it. Like, Sam is stubborn. Dean is a complete asshole when he becomes stubborn, so then no one really likes him from then on, but apparently you're supposed to love him because he's struggling. But I think he just becomes an asshole. I think reason just goes out the window. You can't really blame it on family anymore, because he kind of does it. It turns into more of a selfish, like, thing. And it's just like, I get it, but we could have done other things to deal with it. Anyway, I did have fun in the season. I do like the fact that it kind of wrapped itself up better. But I'm really excited to see what's the final season 15, is going to be like. I think it's going to be a complete just bloodbath. It's going to be a complete they're fighting off all these like spirits and everything they've used to do before, but now they're off to a better start now that they have possibly have the Shadow and Billy at their side. So I'm really, 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 really excited for this. I cannot wait. Leave a comment below. So that's pretty much it, by the way. So leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought about this season. Tell me what you think about what's going to happen next season. I'm really, really excited. I actually wonder if they're making they definitely have to have a convention coming up soon. I'm definitely going to see the very last one because I feel like that was it's going to be a super emotional moment. I cannot wait. So yeah, fingers crossed that this doesn't end up like what's going on with Game of Thrones was just a shit show of just people are not really happy what's going on. But yeah, I really hope it works out. I have faith in what's going to happen since we have Robert Singer back into the action. So fingers crossed, and I hope everybody has a great week. It's a Thursday, so tomorrow's Friday. So we're going to have our Friday picks. I shall see everybody in the next video. And once again, I hope everybody has a great week. Happy hunting. And for all the wayward sisters and brothers out there, that has been keeping up with this since the first episode or seasons. Thank you. I'm sure they are very happy about this. I'm very excited to see this end because I think it's going to wrap up really nicely. So see you guys later in the next video.